Hello, my fellow chatterers and magical wanderers, and anyone else who's popped in because you're curious, we've got a bit lost. Welcome, everyone. I am Chatty, and today I'm going to be chatting away madly about more of the magical read-along. Readathon. Magical Readathon, which is this amazing readathon that has been created by G from Book Roast, where you get to go to the magical University of Orillium. In this whole fantastic world she's created, you get to create a character and set them studies and put them on a career path. So if you haven't seen my recap of where my character Mogrog got to, I will leave the link here. I think it is this side. I think I finally sussed it. There is this side. I will also link the playlist at the end so you can look at all my journey so far if you like the magical readathon content. So I explained in the recap that I did not complete the readathon in August. I did not do all my classes. I did 4 of the 8 books I was supposed to read in order for Mogrog to become a Dreamwalker. But I enjoy the readathon. I enjoy doing this, so I'm just going to carry on afterwards and complete it before the next one. And I have 2 more books to talk to you about. I read one in September and one in October. So I'm going to fill you in this readathon concept as part of my segmented studies. Because I can't vlog, I do one shots, there are no editing, so I'm kind of doing one then the other. So let's get my tiny teacup and toast to you all. Cheers, everyone. So as the Lightfall and all Favour town shopping is opening up in December, I thought I should probably catch you up with the 2 books I haven't spoken to you about and my continued studies so far. So I last said that I was, for level Q in Psionics and Divination, I was reading The Ship of Magic by Maria Kuznia, which is a middle grade fantasy. So for this it was Time Theory 2. So you had to read a book with a word in it in the title, the same as the previous book that you read from before, which is such a fun prompt. So the one I had read before was Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb, and I realised there's actually 2 words in here, ship and of, which is a lot of fun. So I read this back in September, and I had previously read a chapter and was really intrigued. It's been on my list for a while. It's got female pirates. I'm just excited. I'm just really excited for it. And first of all, I appreciate the cover. Look at all this wonderful artwork by Carl James Mountford, and through this little wonderful peephole window we have the ship on a beautiful pink and blue sea and this gorgeous golden sunset and starry sky. So the feelings that the cover evokes with all of these pirates and palm trees and this kind of Arabian building structure here is the feel you get in this book. It is full of whimsy, it is full of magic, it is such a delightful adventure. I had a wonderful time reading it, and I will be, when I am back on buying books, I will be buying the second book. I could borrow it from the library because it's there, but I want to own it because I really enjoy this series. So it starts off in historical Spain, I think. It's historical Spain, but I can't remember when historical. But Girls Aren't Sailors, basically within that. Our protagonist, Aaliyah, is the youngest daughter, helps in the bakery of her family home, but wants to go and sail on ships, is bullied by the local townschildren, and at night she escapes on rooftops to go and study in the library. And there she is developing her knowledge of history and boats and her powers as a linguist. And she's getting through a bit of trouble and eventually kind of crosses path with this ship that you hear about in some of the books that she's reading called the Ship of Shadows, and she sees this ship of legend docked in and she ends up taking refuge on there, and it is a wonderful adventure and it is so glorious. So the crew are all female from various different backgrounds. You have Captain Quint with her mysterious past. and the mystery of the Ship of Shadows and her family's history. So you get little bits of that kind of backstory coming through. You get these whole host of other characters with all their different walks of life and all their different quirks. Elia makes a friend for the first time in her life. Frances is wonderful. She is such a joyful friend, definitely one you want. Possibly can lead you a little bit astray, but she absolutely has her heart in the right place and will definitely back you up. We also get a really wonderful companion. If you don't want to know a huge amount about what's in here and want to enjoy that all yourself, I suggest skipping ahead till I choose the next book, because I will talk about it. Her companion is this like little shadow. It's so cute. She has a little shadow that kind of follows her and takes on different forms, and when it's scared will hide in her boot. And it's so cute. So the shadows on the ship are really quite playful, and there is this like part of the ship that will change whenever you kind of go into it, and the shadows will make it change, and kind of the younger crew members will go and hang out there and tell ghost stories, and there's like a slide to get in there. It is just so delightfully whimsical and fun. You also get this kind of deeper sense of foreboding that they have come across other not like seafarers, because they're not other pirates. They're the kind of people who want to capture pirates and imprison pirates, but there's kind of, you feel like there's very much a vendetta against them, and they've kind of just escaped. So there's that kind of threat lingering, and I feel we'll get more of that in the second book as well. And there is kind of like how that's affected different crew members. So there's definitely a past there. You have all sorts of different characters from various different parts of the world. So there is a mixture of representation in here. We do end up going to Marrakesh and the Sahara Desert. So we have some time on the water, and then we have some time exploring the desert as well. So all sorts of fun adventure in there. There is a character that is that has one arm, so you have some disability representation, and there is also a character who is in a sapphic relationship, so you have some LGBTQ plus representation in here. As far as I know, it's not own voices, but from reading it, I felt that both the representation was good representation, but I am not someone who is own voices on that matter either, so I can't really comment. But from what I read, it felt like good representation. And the story is full of adventure. There is a lot of heart in here, and I had a really, really good time reading it. The only thing I think is it didn't kind of hit me as emotionally as some other books have. So I think that's the thing that's holding me back from absolutely raving about it. I really love it. I'm definitely one I would reread, definitely one that I'm highly, highly recommending. But for me, it just didn't quite have that emotional aspect to it. But characters are amazing. Their goals are fantastic. I really can't wait to see what happens next in this story in terms of what the fate of our protagonist is, and what the fate of the ship is, where they go from here, and what they achieve. So I highly recommend, if you enjoy middle grade books, if you enjoy adventure, if you enjoy magical fantasy, you will love this book. So now let's see what else I will be studying. I need to achieve level D in psionics and divination, which means I need to study introductory, I cannot talk, palmistry, which is to read a book that is a second-hand book. So to get that all-important level D in psionics and divination, the final book I need to read for that area of study, introducing palmistry, a second-hand book, which can mean several things. It could be something you've bought from a charity shop or a thrift shop, or you got in a library sale, or you borrowed from the library. And I went along with the borrowed aspect of it being second-hand. And it's second-hand for two reasons, because I borrowed it from my brother Matty, And also it's a reread, and I went for The Shadows of Self. And I also enjoy that it kind of links into time theory too, because I just read The Ship of Shadows and this is Shadows of Self. So I quite enjoyed that as well. So usually I would tell you about the first chapter that I've just started reading and what I think of it. But one, it's a reread, and two, I read this in October. So it kind of doesn't work. So I'm just going to carry on and I'm going to go through Shadows of Self and then let you know what the next book I'm going to be reading is. So as I said, this was a reread for me. I last read this, I think it was a couple of years ago, and I was literally binging all of Mistborn. I couldn't get enough. I was just eating it all up. And I really, really enjoyed it. I really appreciated the Mistborn Era 2 where it was not as intense as Era 1. I much preferred the well-written female characters in this one. I love Mistborn Era 1, do not get me wrong, but I just felt this was a lot tighter. I did enjoy the police aspect of it as well. I thought that was like an interesting spin on it. It was a lot more humour in here, and stakes are still high, but they're not like epic level high when I was reading this. And now kind of reading it when I knew kind of what the Bands of Mourning held and kind of where the series was heading, this was really fun to kind of pick up what I missed that first time round and see if I had things that I was aware of this time and kind of bits I'd missed because I was chasing the story previously. When I read this the first time, I worked out a twist. Reading it the second time, I couldn't work out where I worked it out or how I worked it out, because I was looking for it more the second time and I was like, when did I pick up all the clues that was the twist? And I absolutely can't work it out. But I didn't pick up on the other twist in here. And there were just moments in here I knew they were coming that just felt devastating and it felt very emotional. I'm really fond of the characters in here and I love seeing them shine. I don't like it when they're in pain, but there was a lot of humour balancing it all out. And I had a great time rereading this. It's a really fun series and I really enjoy it. So this was just a great book to just have extra fun with. So that's this one. Let's see what I've got to study next.
My next study is Q level in the art of illusion. Light! And for this one, I need to study a minor illusion. And for that, I need to read a small book.
Yes, the second to last book that Mogrog needs to study before she can go on to become a dreamwalker is a small book. And for that, I chose A Rabble of Drabbles and Doodles by Wen Clark. This is a this is a self-pub, and it is a collaboration with lots of local artists, and it is done through almost like an improvisation. So Wen got people to give them words, just lots of different words, and she collated those words, and then from each word they then took it and tried to write something within 100 words, to just like wherever that word took them, whatever journey that came up, whatever art that created, just in that small space of time, but fitting that 100-word limit. So this is a collection of all of that, alongside artists also being given the same word and then interpreting that word in their art, but having to fit a very small space. And they also had a time limit as well. I don't know what the time limit was, but I think the space is like, well, it's in here, like all the pictures are the same. So look, for example, here we go. So it's this, like, I think it's like 3 by 3, I think it was said. So each section, so it's kind of like an anthology, and so each section is writing that was inspired by the word and a picture that was inspired by the word. So there is little fantasy moments, there's humour in here, there's emotional stuff in here. I have flicked through, I have read little bits and pieces, but what I really want to do is I want to read it from cover to cover and just take it in as a whole piece, and then be able to talk to you about it. So there are some bits in here where I have looked at it and I've gone, I think I'm going to need to read this a few times for it to click into my brain. And then there's other bits that have gone, that has just been like, produced such an emotional reaction in me. Like, it's just spoken to me. And I just think it's amazing just how, like, people, different things will spark things from different people. And there's just something in here for everyone. And I just love the concept that it was all kind of pulled together as like a piece of art. I just think that's so fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to like exploring it in its whole form rather than just all its little segments. So there we go. Rabble of Drabble and Doodles is what I am going to be reading next. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I will be back with this segmented study. This is part 6. I think I didn't say, but the other one said it was part 6, but it's actually part 5. That's the recap, is part 5. This is part 6, maybe part 6 and 7, because I've got 2 books in here. So I'll be back with either part 7 or part 8, depending what I want to call it, where I'm going to be exploring what the December sort of very chilled out, low-key readathon is about, where we get to celebrate Lightfall and explore the old Favour tale, town, shops, street, old Favour something. something old Favour with Christmas shopping. Anyway, there's a pigeon pub. It's great. That's all you need to worry about. So I'm looking forward to that. That is going to be happening from the 9th of December for about 10 days, I think. I can't remember exactly, but I know it's starting on the 9th. So if you wanted to hang out, if you wanted to just come and have fun, I've got the link for that announcement video from G in the description box. So go and have a look, go back through all her Orillium stuff and join in the fun. And I will see you soon. Happy reading, everyone.